baby. It's okay.
Right. Don't your feet out. Your feet probably hot. Remember, I got your
All right,
socks.
what's going on, everybody? This is your girl, Shantanique Langston. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Happy Friday, and welcome to another episode of Candid Conversations. I know it's been a minute since we've done an episode, but we are back and we're getting ready to give you guys a sneak peek of what's going to be taking place at our next event coming up in October. And I'm super excited, of course, to have my team with me today, Lewis and Vanessa Carter. They are amazing. They are thebomb.com. They are the example of what a couple should look like when you're looking to be happy and healthy and creating those boundaries and those non-negotiables. They know all of that about that. They have 20 plus years in the game. So single folks, those who are married, you guys can learn a lot from this couple right here. I know I have down through the years. So I just want to hop right into our conversation today. We're kind of early. Normally we do it in the evening, but we thought it would be fitting to do it this early just to see who's going to come on today. If not, watch the replay. Make sure those who watch the replay share this video with anybody you know who's dealing with issues when it comes to commitment. All right, the fear of commitment, the rejection of commitment, all of the things that you may be thinking about when you hear the word commitment and with dealing with another person. All right, so if you're someone who's dealing with those things, you definitely want to make sure you tune into this episode. And of course, send to everybody that you know who can benefit from the gems that are going to be expressed in today's episode. So without further ado, Lewis and then Vanessa, go ahead and introduce yourselves.
I am Lewis Carter. I'm a part of the Love Conference, Relationship Conference. I've been with Chantanique. Right after the first one started, I've been connected. I just came along really to encourage my wife, but I got pulled in. Here I am several years later.
You leaped in. Hello, yes. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Vanessa Carter, and I have been with Chantanique since the inception of the relationship conference. As Lewis stated, he was coming along to support, but he had so much that he wanted to plug in. He almost like literally leaped out of his seat. So I'm so excited to be here discussing relationship matters and concerns and just our experience and our love um, over the past, what, almost 30 years. Yeah, like 24 in married and
29.
29 and then 5 years dating. So I'm excited.
Yes, all right, Lewis with the numbers. Okay, y'all fellas better pay attention. He remembers the dates,
Those
okay, the
numbers,
numbers.
yes.
All right now. I listen, I had to tell the backstory because yes, he's right. He came to support Vanessa during my first conference in 2018, and the topics were so hot. And I remember seeing him in the audience, his leg was shaking. I'm like, what is going on with him? And when he stood up, he talking about he got pulled in. No, this brother stood up during the conference and started going in. And I mean, you were just giving so many gems to help the singles and the brothers rather. And I was like, oh, he got to get up here during the second part of our conference and talk to our married couples. And then when you got on there and started sharing tears, you're shedding some tears, you and Vanessa, I just was like, oh no, they are here to really pour and they're being vulnerable in front of the people. I think that was so profound during the first conference. I knew that you guys are going to be a part of the movement, and I appreciate it's been 7 years. I haven't even noticed because we've been so busy in
Mhm.
just creating things behind the scenes. People do not know, but we're going to be sharing how we're putting together this conference and why it's important to understand the importance of a healthy relationship. There are so many people talking, but there are people actually living it out right here on this broadcast today. So let's go right into The word commitment. What does the word commitment mean?
Um, commitment, to commit, to be in for the long haul, taking our vows seriously, through sickness, through health, through for richer, for poor, being in it for the long haul, for me, and really speaking to those wedding vows, taking those seriously. I always jokingly share with him, like, it's too much work, trying to, get to, it took too much work for us to get to where we are, to try to start this over again, with somebody else. Yeah.
When I think about commitment, I think about being connected to a person and not looking for other options.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I was talking to a young man. He said, "Man, when I get into a relationship, I'm already working on how I'm gonna get up out of it. I mean that if it doesn't go his way, he's already working on a way to escape." So I think about commitment. I think about being in it and connected to the individual without any other options. If I say I love you, if I say I'm gonna be with you, then I'm gonna work to make this relationship work. I think a relationship is two people committed in an agreement to work together to make it work.
Yes, because I just said this on Instagram on the relationship page in my stories. People don't be
Hmm.
looking there, but I said that people who have a selfish mindset and go into a relationship, it's not going to work because you are one sided. You're thinking about yourself. What can I get out of it versus how can I be a suitable mate and be an asset to the partner that God has ordained for me. We waste a lot of time in relationships because we have that singles have a selfish mindset. And you have those who do get married and they also have a selfish mindset and have to learn a lot, go through some things to understand how to balance. Like, okay, you do want your needs met. I totally get that. But what are you doing to make sure that you're suitable for your mate as well?
Hmm.
And so that's why the conference is here. That's why we're doing these things because there's a misconception about creating a healthy environment before you get married. You
Right.
gotta start. You gotta start in your singleness. That's why I tell my singles like, don't waste your time dealing with people who are not suitable for you. There's a time and place to date. There's a time and place for you to date yourself. So you begin to
Hmm.
learn yourself, and then even when you become acquainted with the person that you're going to be with for your life, you're going to learn yourself again. So
And, and
giving
you
yourself that grace is
Hmm.
very important, I believe. You guys want to interject there?
and I think a lot of times for women, when you see the flashing yellow lights, the cautions, when you see the signs, get out.
Hmm.
I don't know why it's in women, in you all's DNA, your makeup, that you nurture, you care. And a lot of times you all want to be the hero, the superhero, but you can't save it. When a guy or a person show you who they are or who they are not,
Ooh,
believe it the first time. That's what it is.
yes, that's a quote right there. I
Once
got to use that.
you get beyond the newness of relationship, and the person starts showing you who they are, believe them. They're not going to change.
And you
Whatever
can't
you deal
change
with,
them.
and you can't change them. So whatever you deal with, if it's a non-negotiable for you, or it's something that breaks your own personal convictions or conscience or preference, leave it. You don't have to stay.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times women stay too long
And commit too
and
fast.
commit too fast, and they come away with nothing but a broken heart.
Hmm.
Oh my gosh, that is so true. That's why it's important, ladies and gentlemen, to give yourself grace. Get to know somebody. There's nothing wrong with getting to know somebody for who they are. Just like Lewis just said, when a man or a woman show you who they are not,
Yeah.
go the other way. I love that. I got to use that. I'm gonna make sure I credit you, Doc,
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
for that one. Something that I heard Doctor, I don't want to say his name wrong. I believe it's Naran. I can't remember his name, but he said that life is hard, not my wife. Your partner comes into your life not to make life hard. So it only is hard if you guys are coming into that thing with baggage that you have not worked on. And so you have to work. You Yes, you're gonna have some things going on in life, but it should not uh, diminish the covenant and the relationship that God has put for you guys to work together. And I think a lot of times with singles, they don't know that part that you're supposed to be in a relationship to. It's a blessing. Someone wanting to do life with you. That's a blessing.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people do not look at it that way. But again, that's that selfish mindset. What can I get from it? And so I think we need to get away from that mindset, that selfishness. There's a time and place to be selfish, but you can't be that way in a relationship.
And I think I said this Sunday. I said Vanessa makes doing life easy from a perspective of she allowed me to be my authentic self. There's no compromise. I think anybody you marry, a man, for men, your wife, for women, your husband, your life should become easier because you should be accepted for your authenticity. Not compromising who you are or your character, but you should be accepted for who you are, and that makes life easy.
And one of the things too, when you had made that comment on Sunday, in regards to me making life easy, was I and one of the pastors at our church. We both looked at each other, smiling, just saying that marriage is ministry, and it's about servitude, and that's one of the things that we came in year one with, with our premarital counseling, was out serving one another. And it's like getting to the point where, no, I'm going to do, where you're kind of, trying to outserve each other. What can I do to make this marriage better? So it's each person, working, the spouse working, the husband working, and the wife working, to outserve each other.
I think that's what our oldest daughter has said. Because I'm off for the summer, she said, "Dang, Dad, if this what retirement gonna look like for you, I want the retired dad. I don't want the working dad." The retirement dad is real easy, but you have to work to outserve each other. I shouldn't be at home all day expecting somebody else to wash dishes. I shouldn't be home all day expecting somebody else to come home and wash clothes. I shouldn't be at home all day playing around, poking around, and then when my wife come home say, "Dang, you know them clothes need to be washed. You know them dishes need to be washed. You know that food need to be put away." So I found myself serving in a greater capacity, which I'm not complaining, but our children like this the daddy we want right here. And the goal is just to outserve.
And make it
Make
easy.
make it easy for you.
Yeah, and for you too. And that was one of the things too. I forget where we were, and you had made the comment, giving a nugget to the husbands, like, it's not that I'm going to do this to get this, but it would make it easier if when a wife comes home and sees that the dishes are washed and that the clothes are folded, food is cooked. Hey, that could be up for some surprises,
For some
for
treats.
some,
Okay, I'm all about acts of service.
And,
yeah.
and you gotta have your motive has to be pure.
Mhm.
There you go.
I mean, you have to come from a pure, clean place. Things I do, I don't do it to throw it back up in your face. I do it because it's an honor that I get to do it. And a lot of
Mm-hmm.
times, people, when it's all said and done, the one thing they will always remember is how you made them feel. They may forget what you said, they may forget what you've done, but they'll never forget how you made them feel.
And that's in all relationships, marriage, friendship, dating, all of that.
As a father, as a
Yeah,
husband,
husband, sister,
as a
brother.
sister, brother, a son, a nephew, always they'll always remember how you made them feel.
That is so good. Oh, that made me think about some questions that I would ask single folks that are watching this. The first thing is, who makes your life easy? Who have you experienced in your life to make things easy? Have you missed your Boaz or your Ruth? Because I will say that there are people who have missed their gems, their gem because they were looking outside of what God has already put in front of them. Because they were still trying to satisfy their fleshly desires, all to still come up short. I don't know why I had to say that, but there are some people who have missed. You will miss your blessing. Some people think, oh, it's gonna come back around. No, no, no. It's grace can possibly be there, but there are times where people have missed out. Even those who divorced, knowing they had a good person, and they'll come back and say, you know what, I had a good person, I messed it up. Several people. There are people out there right now who said certain things. Genuine has said it. Shaquille O'Neal has said it in several interviews. Nick Cannon has
Mm-hmm.
said it in his
Right.
interview. Okay, so we come on here, we bash them, but they know what they've done, and they're able to admit that what they had has gone. Some people do not
Absolutely.
realize what they have until it's gone. And you don't want to be that person. That's why we're having this conversation. That's why I created the relationship conference
Mm-hmm.
to talk about what social media is not talking about.
Mm-hmm.
The real thing, getting
And
into
it's
the
work.
just.
You hit it right there, Shantanique. The real thing is work. Whether you have a good relationship or a bad relationship, it's gonna take work. And so many people think because you see a couple who's got 20 years in the game, 30 years in the game, 50 years in the game, it didn't start off where they are. You didn't see the beginning when they was doing the tilling the ground, when they was taking the weeds out the yard and everything. You get to it and you see the roses and everything, and you think you're gonna automatically get there from day one. You're not. It's work.
Hmm.
It's work. It's gonna take some work.
One thing that you mentioned about outserving, you said to outserve one another. People who are single, it's very important to learn how to serve in your singleness,
Mm-hmm.
in your friendships, in your family. Because if you learn how to serve in your friendships, and I don't, that's a whole conference by itself. I got a lot to say about friendships and what that should look
Yeah.
like.
Mm-hmm.
Healthy friendships.
Healthy friendships.
Okay, not these fake ones, not these one-sided friendships. That's how selfishness get in there. Okay, so if you are a person who understands servitude, not even just in church, but outside of that, you
Mm-hmm.
will thrive in a healthy relationship. But you have to find someone who also serves, who understands the language.
And that's compatible.
And you said a key word, Shantanique, healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Not only healthy relationships, but you being healthy as an individual,
Yeah.
you being well, you being whole. That's the word I want, whole. One thing I've learned is that hurt people hurt people. So if you're not well uh, mentally, physically, spiritually, you're going to have the tendency to hurt others. So, number one, am I in a position as a single where I'm healthy and whole to date or to befriend somebody else?
You better preach.
It, it's and that is so that's so supremely important. If I'm not well, I don't. The last thing I need to do as a sick individual is to bring somebody else into my sickness.
Sickness.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That is so, yeah. Go
Go and
ahead,
ruin that.
Vanessa.
I'll say you go and ruin that person, and then when they go on to the next person, then they got that baggage, from the last relationship that they had, and it's like, now they have to get double time, healthy, or
Mm-hmm.
back to a stable condition to where they can at least try to date, or at least consider, putting themselves back, out there to date.
Oh, that is so, oh my gosh, that is so good. What I want to add that is very important when it comes to singleness and men dating, because I've had this a lot too with some of my male friends. They'll come to me with all these situations, and I'm sitting and listening. I'm like, y'all know how to pick them. And the same thing for women. We know how to pick them. Have you prayed about it? I have, girlfriends now that are in situations. I'm like, well, do y'all pray together? And I think that is a very essential part when it comes to our lives, prayer.
Mhm.
We are missing, I would say my generation is not praying. They're not praying. They're not. They're too busy looking for God through people on social media versus going to the throne of grace on their own, speaking life out of their own mouth because
Mhm.
they are afraid to speak life into their life. They're wanting somebody else to do it for them.
And
And
what?
I'm telling you, I don't know why I'm going here, but one thing I will say as far as praying about even dating, getting back into the dating scene, it's a reflection of you. So if you're not ready, it's going to show before you even cross that threshold
Mm-hmm.
that you're ready or not. And sometimes people out of their flesh, out of convenience, they'll date because I want to be around somebody to satisfy this urge that I have
Mm-hmm.
versus let me take this time to work on myself. And I
And
want to say to millennials, like, it's okay to take time out for you. You don't
Mm-hmm.
have to rush into anything. But I also want to challenge the millennials to change their mindset and perception about the commitment of relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why a lot of people are single and upset and bitter because they have yet to deal with the trauma. They
Mm-hmm.
have yet to deal with the hurt and the unforgiveness of others. And those who do decide to get in a relationship, they're still hurting. They're looking for that love and that happiness from the other person, and that is not okay.
go ahead, Chris.
No, you go.
Um, One of the things I think a lot of times people fail to realize is that if I'm looking for somebody to do life with, I shouldn't rush the process. Don't rush the, it's not a microwave process. We dated for 5 years, but I knew after the first 3 to 6 months, I told my mom, I said, Mom, I'm gonna marry this girl. My mom was like, Well, you ain't gonna marry that girl. You're gonna meet a whole lot of other women after her. I said, No, I already know I'm gonna marry her. And I told her we was dating for about 3 months. I said, when we get married, I'm gonna tell our kids about this. She said, I ain't marrying you. I knew. She said, Chris, she said, I ain't married. I said, watch. I said, watch.
And
I
just.
really believe that men know. They
Mm-hmm.
know as soon as they meet you. I
Mm-hmm.
believe they know. And then they know that if you're, they say, well, I know for me, when I would date guys, they would say, you're a wife material. They're
Mm-hmm.
not ready for that.
Mm-mm.
No.
And I'm like, what is that? What does wife material look like?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just a woman who knows what I want, So they don't know what they want.
And I
There's
think,
nothing
yeah,
wrong with
to
you.
both
You said, go
ends.
ahead.
We were having a conversation with our children a couple nights ago, and they was just, kind of just filling me in on like the new, uh, dating techniques, and what's going on out there. And they were saying like how, most of these girls are looking for guys, to give them, provide for them a meal. They want to switch up. It's like they're not ready to be
Committed.
committed. And I was just like, wow. And they were just giving me insight, and just even sharing with my son. He was just basically saying that he's not found the right one yet. He's like, he's seen some, girls that he could, date, or he said, but it's just like you said, not wife material, or not the standard that he wants in a
Hmm.
relationship.
Yeah, and nothing is wrong with that. Like Lewis said too, you gotta take your time. I also believe that a lot of the reason why young men and young women are the way they are today is because of what's happening in our households, how they were raised, what type of examples did they really have in front of them growing up. If they don't have a mom or a dad in the home and they're not teaching them the right things, or how to, court and how to date, then they're going to go out here in the world and learn it from the world.
Hmm.
So that's another piece of it too. And we, of
That
course, we can't save everybody, but I know that from how I was brought up, because my dad was absent, but it didn't alter how I came out either. Oh, what you going to say?
I think that's a major component of what we're seeing played out in front of us is the fact that the type of homes they come from. I remember when we dated, I spent a lot of time with Vanessa's mother. I met her father, but I spent a lot of time with her mama. So by the time, so for sure, after the first year, I knew I was gonna marry. 6 months I knew, but after the first year, it was set because I had seen how her mother cared for her father, and I saw the dynamics, the home front dynamics. I'm like, this easy, this doable. And I remember I was talking to my cousin. He's a barber, probably my favorite cousin, one of my first cousins. He said, man, that woman treating you nice because you got a future. She said she ain't gonna let you get out of college without marrying her daughter. I was like, cuz you think? He said, man, please. The mama dating you too because she know you're a good catch for her daughter. And and ain't nothing wrong with that because she had a beautiful mom. And the things that her mom did, those are the things she do. So I once I saw the home front, I was like, oh yeah, I can do this.
I hope y'all are hearing this. Y'all can't be so Google eyed in the woman's face, but you also have to be vetted in by the family. Now, there are some people who may not want the union because they don't have their own union, or they
Right.
don't they see a special anointing or some type of chemistry that's there they don't have for their own life.
Hmm.
You're gonna have that in family. That's just part of that.
Yeah.
But don't let that discourage you from trying again. And don't let anybody come in between what God has brought together. That's a whole nother
Yeah,
conversation.
that's a whole nother series.
You got to come to the conference for that.
Yes.
So there's some ignorant people,
Hmm.
men and women alike. It ain't no color to it. They are the same. If they
Mm-hmm.
miserable, they want to see you miserable. But
Hmm.
one thing about it, God is not the author of confusion. And
Mm-mm.
you do not need a third party when God has brought two people together.
Yeah, that's why I say leave
And clean.
and cleave.
Yes. Those in the dating phase and you're in that serious exclusivity part of it, you better make sure you are protecting that at all costs.
And then too, going back to one of the things we stated too, when you're dating, have somebody that you can be accountable to.
Yes.
That accountability, that's important.
Yes.
If
And
you
I
feel like you're moving too fast, or you feel like things aren't going the way that you thought they should, have someone that you can go communicate and talk to, and that you can be accountable to, and a confidant that what you all discuss. They're not biased about the situation, so
there
it's
you
good
go.
to have people in your space like that as well.
You just said a keyword, bias, when it comes
Mhm.
to accountability. The millennials got it all mixed up. And I'm just being honest. I hear too much chatter It's so many people who are ignorant to what accountability truly is. And a lot of millennials don't operate in wisdom because, again, ignorance is what's to be praised right now,
Right.
and not what is what's pure
Mm-hmm.
and what's non judgment. Like accountability is designed to push you and allow you to see things outside of yourself. A person who holds you accountable wants to see the better good for you. And
Mm-hmm.
they're only holding you to your own standards that you wanted to do in the first place.
And I was saying that's what I appreciate about my dad is he's that kind of guy.
Oh, nice.
Like he's like, if you wrong, you wrong. He's not
Yeah.
because I'm his daughter. It's like okay, but you was out of order for that, or you shouldn't did that. He's straight to the books. Like
Solid.
yeah,
Solid.
Yeah.
Her daddy is solid.
if
And
he's
you
wrong,
want,
you know you yeah.
That's one of my heroes. Her father is one
yeah.
of my unsung heroes. Period.
And see, millennials, you want someone like that who's going to hold you to to your your own standards,
Mm-hmm.
to what you said you were going to pursue, your goal, whatever your goals are. And yes, you may have what is it, a relapse, but get back up.
Mm-hmm.
No one's here to judge you. You have to know that. So a lot of people out here freelancing, and you don't have to freelance because guess what? We right here.
Mm-hmm.
We're right here to help you because it's not, it's you're doing yourself a disservice when you begin to operate from a selfish mentality,
Mm-hmm.
even in the compatibility part. No one can tell me what to do. I know what to do. No, you don't. Trust me, I don't. That's why I lean to them for
Mhm.
advice about a lot of things, not just in relationships, even in my business. You got to go to somebody, account to
Mm-hmm.
somebody who's going to challenge you outside of the box.
Oh
So
yeah.
even in a relationship, you want to be with someone who's going to challenge you to become a better version of yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Anything else you want to add to that?
Oh,
I think the accountability piece is like a person that's coaching you on to assist you in avoiding the pitfalls of life. Not only am I going to hold you to what you said, but I'm going to move you away from things that may be danger or dangerous to your well-being. And so many times we think when we want things our way that it's always going to work out for our good. Not necessarily so.
Yeah,
Not
that's so good.
sometimes bad decisions reap bad harvests.
mhm.
We, yeah, that is. Oh my gosh, that is so true. You got to you gotta be mindful and discerning of who you are dating. You gotta, because everybody and they're not on your level, and that's okay. You're not trying to. How can I say this? Let me just say this about. I'm gonna just say this about prayer. Going back to prayer because you don't have to date everybody that come your way.
No.
You're going to attract people. We're human. You got two eyes. You're beautiful. You're handsome. You're going to attract people, but you don't have to entertain everything on two legs.
You're right.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be discerning
That's what
of
I'm
the type of
saying.
man and woman you want
Discernment.
to attract into your life that you want today, who's suitable for you.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Take your time and do that. Those who are married, those who are thinking about marriage, I want to ask you a question for those who are courting and those who are engaged. How can they outserve each other in that space?
In the dating space.
Hmm.
Um, I hear the word boundaries.
You gotta have some boundaries
You got to have some boundaries within, your dating
or your court.
or your courting phase. And I think just being kind to each other
Mm-hmm.
within those boundaries.
Yes.
And I agree with you wholeheartedly. And really, sometimes having empathy from the point of I really want to look at this situation and see her perspective or get his perspective. What do you think about this? Instead of just always shrugging forth with what I think, what I want. Da, da, da. Hold on, let me slow down. Hey, what you think about this?
Mhm.
Yeah.
What would you, or are we going out tonight? Where would you like to go? What do you have a taste for? Instead of saying, well, we going to where I want to go, then just pause. What you want to do? All right, let's do that. And sometimes outserve each other could be just putting the other person in front.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Being intentional
Mhm.
about that is so good. And one person I used to work with, he's been married I think over 30 something years, and he dates his wife every week. He said, I have not stopped doing that. And she has butterflies all the time. She tell me that. I think whatever you did in the beginning, you continue to do that.
Yes, you have to. That's like we did a because our situation is real creative these days. So we had a coffee date the other day where we shared a cup of coffee. But that was just that little time we had together where we can plug in and have some conversation. And we always take ice cream dates. We still
Mm-hmm.
our ice cream dates, and then on Friday nights, we'll do the bomb, the fire pit outside. So you
Mm-hmm.
have to keep those things happening. You can't let things just stop just because you
Yes.
got so many years in. It's still things
Mm-hmm.
you should be doing. When he walk in the room, I know he's coming. I'll meet him at the door. Now, we haven't done this in a while, but if I'm getting up for work, he'll walk me to the car. And I was just saying to him the other day, like, I remember the time you used to carry my bags, my books in my bag. So it was just just those things, but you
Mm-hmm.
just can't stop dating. You gotta be creative, and being intentional.
Yes. So I hope this helps somebody. This right here. You want to add something to that, Lewis, for the fellas?
Man, I'm gonna tell you this: if you be mean, if you're selfish, you're gonna end up by yourself. And God said, the Bible said, it is not good for man to be alone.
Hello, somebody.
It's not good for man to be alone. Because as a man, if we are left to ourselves and our ideologies, we will self destruct and self implode. It's not good for man to be alone. That's pretty much it for me.
That is so good. What I want to add this part. I have not openly talked about my past relationship that I was in years ago, and I want to bring that out, and I will. You guys will be seeing a few things happening. I'll be sharing my story, but I want to share
Mm-hmm.
this part about the person I did date, and I was seriously thinking or considering to marry them. He would pray for me. I want people to know that it's important that you pray for your future spouse and what you want them to be for your life. I don't want that person to be complicated because the person I was with, things were complicated, and a person should not come into your life to complicate. They should be complementing your life. But one thing I will say is that he was a praying man. He was a praying man. And when he would pray for me, I started seeing things happening. Good things started to happen for me. It's important to have a man who's postured and a woman who's postured in prayer. Now, I don't know why I had to go there, but I know that a couple that prays together, not separate, but together, when you're able to hear each other pray, because that's important too.
Hmm.
In friendships, in your family. It's important to hear your sibling, somebody praying with you. They're standing in the gap. That's important. We coming away from prayer. And that is an essential piece that the enemy wants to stop. He doesn't want you to be united. Two or three are gathering my name, I'm in the midst. So even when it comes to praying for your significant other, your future spouse, make sure you pray that they have a prayer language because that's
Mm-hmm.
so important. That's going to keep the relationship together when you are praying. Is the moment you stop praying, now you're allowing the enemy to creep in.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. You set
You
them
want
off
to
right
Yeah.
there. You own it.
Yeah. Prayer.
the posture of prayer is very important. I thank
Yeah.
God for that. And I would say to this day, if I were to reach out, because he does reach out in his weird way, but not trying to get into my life. But what I would say, if I were to ask for prayer, he will pray because that's his posture.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So do you know your posture for your future spouse?
Mm-hmm.
That's something to think about on
Mm-hmm.
today. That's my end of what I have to say about that. Y'all gonna have to come to this conference in October to hear our amazing speakers. Not only that, it's going to be interactive. And I know you're like, what does that mean? We're going to be doing a lot of different things during this conference. It's going to be in person in October. So make sure you guys stay tuned this coming week as we soft launch the registration for our conference. It's going to be Saturday, October the 7th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Southfield Marriott in Southfield, Michigan. And so you will be able to see more information on the website. Make sure you guys follow me on Instagram at Neek Speaks, here on YouTube, also on Facebook. I'm Neek Speaks everywhere. And of course, my website is www.neekspeaks.com if you want to see more information about the conference that's coming up. And then, of course, make sure you guys follow the Carters on Instagram as well. It's Carter's Precise, right?
Yes. Carter Precise.
And not on social, not on Facebook, right? But just on Instagram, right?
We're on Facebook as
They're
well.
on Facebook, and they're on Facebook too. So you guys
Yeah.
make sure you follow them there as well because listen, they are an amazing couple, and I'm so honored and privileged that you guys have been with me since the very beginning. Okay, I have not had to worry about them being a part of the movement. All right, I am so grateful for them just sacrificing their time. Even right now, they got the grandbaby. You all can see
She's she.
working with them, and she's quiet.
She's
Y'all,
sleeping.
oh, she's sleeping now. See, y'all worried about it. She doing good. She doing good. All right. Well, you all who've been on, if you guys don't have any questions, I did put it in the chat. Good to see you, Shantae. I saw a few people come in the room, but they didn't say anything in the chat. But I appreciate everyone who did come on this afternoon. Want you guys to have an amazing weekend, and make sure you guys stay tuned because we're gonna have a huge lineup coming up in August and September of our preview. So make sure y'all stay tuned. I'll talk to you guys in our next video. Y'all stay blessed.
All right. See you.